Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg from Jerusalem, and tonight we'll be doing another class in a series of classes on Tauras ascendant, Venus in the different signs. Tonight we'll be doing Venus in Libra, which in general it falls in the 6th house. So the 6th house is, again, it's one of the difficult houses. And in this particular situation, it's even more difficult because Venus doesn't work good in the 6th house. In other words, the natural 6th house ruler is sign is Virgo, and Venus is in fall in Virgo. We've talked about that a number of times, why Venus is in fall in Virgo, so we won't go into it here. But again, it's a difficulty. It's some kind of a difficulty that you have Virgo in a house that's the sign is antipathetic to it. The 6th house is the house of service, of servitude, and Venus is the house of play. Venus is the sign of play, of love, romance, and it doesn't work good in the house of servitude. Right. Again, women who have like a strong Venus in Virgo, or Virgo on the 7th house cusp, things like that, they become to see themselves more as servants than as wives, and so it can be a difficult situation, especially for women having Venus there in the 6th house. They end up somehow becoming servants, and but in any case, Venus in the 6th house is always a problem when you have the ruling planet in the 6th house. You feel like your psychology is like that of a servant. You don't feel that you feel like you're not equal to other people. You're not as good as other people. So it can be like some kind of inferiority type of conflict in a situation like that. I've known a lot of people actually who have Venus, have different planets in the ruling planets in the 6th, and they have very difficult times with it because they don't feel like up to it. Sometimes they don't feel like they have problems with self-worth. They have problems with feeling good about themselves. They feel like they're serving people. Although it's excellent for people who can use it well. It makes excellent doctors, excellent servants, excellent people who help people. It brings a lot of people in government to have it, because government is supposedly to help the people. And so people, if you have a strong 6th house, it's usually best to go into careers that are connected with the 6th house, and you work out your problems through service. In other words, your feelings of servitude, you use them to become a doctor or a nurse or a government official, politicians, anybody who works in the government bureaucracy. They tend to have the strong 6th house, so you can work things out in that way. Alright, so again, whichever here, if you have Venus in the 6th house, since it's also ill health, it can cause sometimes, if it's badly aspected or in a bad sign, it can cause illnesses connected with Venus. It can have a tendency towards diabetes. There's a tendency towards, especially women, hormonal problems, or problems with pregnancy, problems with the female body system, things like that. So if a person has Venus there, they have to watch out for it. I'm going to show you a chart tonight, interesting chart. I can't go into it in full, but we're just using it to illustrate a point. But I tend to pick, again, if you want to look at the charts, they're on, most of the charts I took from Chaldea.com, Khaldea.com, and tonight I'm looking at a chart of a woman named Dorothy Parker. She had a Jewish father and a Scottish mother, and her whole life was very, very problematic from day one. She became very famous as a wit, as a poet, as an authoress of short stories, but she had a terribly tragic personal life. Nothing went for her. She had a number of marriages that didn't work out. She had She had a number of marriages that didn't work out. She had a number of problems with she attempted suicide a number of times. What else? She had a number of abortions. She had 3 husbands. Each husband she had abortions. Every first abortion sent her into a heavy depression and caused her first suicide attempt, and then she had a number of others. And so she was a Taurus rising with Venus in Libra in the 6th house. So again, in her chart, that's accentuated the Venus. Even though Venus is an honor in Libra, the whole idea of servitude is accentuated in her chart because she has 2 other planets in the 6th house, Saturn and Uranus, and all of 9 of the 10 planets are all below the ascendant. So again, it gives you a feeling of inferiority. And on top of that, she had almost no planets on angles, so it was also a weak chart. Wasn't a lot of strength in that chart. She was a good talker, good writer, good wit, but it wasn't a very strong chart at all. It was not a very strong chart at all, and on top of that, the Venus there in the 6th house is conjunct by Saturn. Right, so when Venus is conjunct by Saturn, it can be very, very inhibiting. Even though Venus is in honor and Saturn is exalted, it's too much for Venus to be close to such a heavy malefic. And so it's gonna it makes for someone who works in the arts. Saturn is work, and Mercury and Venus is the arts. And so when they're together, it can give somebody who works in the arts as a career, artistic type of career. Right? With Libra, it can be writing. There's going to be an artistic tendency. Wherever there's, when I first started out, I worked with models. I was in a building where there were models, and I did all the horoscopes seem to have Venus, Saturn conjunctions all over the place. Right? Beauty combined with work. Right? And but it's a difficult combination. It makes for a difficult. It can be difficulty romantically, especially in the romantic sphere. It can inhibit. In her chart, you see she had a number of abortions, right? Because the Venus went, and that was when abortions weren't, legalized and things like that. And so she had Venus running into the Saturn in the house of ill health. And it's probably, connected, and the Saturn not only connected with the Venus, it was also squared to her moon. So both the female and the moon is in detriment in Capricorn, and is exactly square Saturn. So she must have felt very, very held back, very restricted, especially in her femininity, in her female sexuality, something like that in her chart. But it's a very, very difficult combination because that the Venus is so harmed by Saturn, and it's in a bad house, and it's approaching. Venus is drawing closer to Saturn, so it intensifies as she gets older. If they were separating, it would maybe weaken a little as she got older, and she'll be able to overcome it. But here it's tremendously destructive. So that's her chart, and again, if you want to look at it and really go into depth, take a look at her chart on Chaldea.com, and I thank everybody for listening.